All right. All right. How you guys doing? D-Boy, West Coast Uncensored with another video. Thank you guys. Greetings, greetings, greetings. Appreciate everybody for the continuous watches, for the continuous texts, for the continuous love, support, and every aspect of what I see in the reaching out. Um, I think of this as a day at a time. Those of us who start waking up and have woke up to see the importance of reverse engineering, shaking things up, shaking it all up by doing the work on yourself, reverse engineering self, and start making the changes because that which is can't handle the changes, and we start seeing things change. And if you, what I'm saying is, start glitching it. The system wants a certain prototype, and you don't fit it anymore. It can't ride your algorithms. Your algorithm is far superior to the algorithms of what we see. So always make changes. Always be ready to transform. There's a transformative part of you, right? There's a stable part, always immovable, but there's that part that's always continually versions of yourself, right? That change. Versions of yourself. Sometimes people, family, friends in our past, even now, that don't understand our changes, your changes, they will continue to do this one thing: identify you as a version that you are not any longer. And you know you're not the version. They don't recognize the version anymore because they can't really connect and upload to that version and don't really recognize it. They can't see it. They almost want to put you in, this is how you were, so this is how you still are. And you know that you've changed so much that is not who you are in this new version of yourself. Telling you, you need to empower yourself and wake up. As you wake up and empower yourself, you're going to transform your life, your mind, and you're going to use your equipment, right? You're going to be equipped. Notice equipment, and we are equipped fully. It's knowing how to have access to within, to yourself, learning, know thyself. The more you continue to play an outside part of yourself, right? You're going to stay outside of yourself and never have access and never know yourself, because you're always going to stay in the outside corridor or the outer place. They used to call it the holies of holies, inner in the inner sanctuary, and then the out. What was it called? The outer place. There's a word they used for it in the Old Testament. That they would, the outside place, outside of the temple, outside of self, because you're the only temple building structure. You're the one made without physical. Physical came to house you, your physical body, avatar, temple, whatever you want to call it, temple, building, this body, the structure. The real you lives within the structure. So if you don't know within the structure, how can you ever identify even who you are? Because you're entangled with all the outside stuff that entangles you to play the outside game and not the truth and the reality that it's all within. So the outer court, that was a word that we used to use back in the day in some of the metaphysical stuff I used to be connected to at one time. So, and it was the outer court, inner court, holy place, right? Levels of going outside yourself, starting to enter within, inner place, and then the holies, the most connection of who you really, really are in the literal stuff. If you start entangling like an onion, or untangling yourself from false identities of egos and false beliefs and false opinions and doctrines and dogmas and tales and beliefs. And then you start knowing, I want to know the truth no matter how much it will hurt. and it will definitely, that knowing that will do something to you, will metamorphose you as you start untangling. The more you untangle, you metamorphose. The more you untangle, more you metamorphose. The more, and then this continually, like the spiral, untangling, right? You're untangling yourself, and you realize you do have a connection that does plug in, like your mother to the umbilical cord. There is a spiritual connection of an umbilical cord that is within us that keeps us connected to that which always was and always will be. And you, as you become more and more identified with that, the truth comes to you, and there's things that you start opening up to yourself, and versions of yourself even within, that's not recognized without. You recognize it within the version that you are. So all right, we're going to do a little bit of a word of the day. And when you say, why are you going to do a word of a day right here? Well, think about it. What is everybody today all lambasted and into this phenomenon called the eclipse, right? This phenomenon called the eclipse. So as we go into this phenomenon called the eclipse, think of this, right? We're going into this phenomenon called the eclipse. We're looking at this phenomenon called the eclipse. I want to, when I record this, because I felt that I recorded it last time on the last video, and I don't know that I can make changes completely here, right? But I just want to have this on this video, the screen look bigger and more clear. And I'm just kind of looking here. That ain't going to do it. But anyways, I can do it on my recording. But anyways, notice something on this. We talk about eclipsing, right? We're in this eclipse. Everybody's wondering if all their technology is going to be turned off with all of this push generation. You know, all that's pushed in the media is all one thing. It's not balanced. It's one-sided, either side. What do they tell them? It's a fear factor. They want to pump fear into the people to get that emotion in the field, because they feed off the fear, and the fear actually retards your growth. Your fears and the fears building amongst the community and amongst the people, putting that fear factor out that they pump in, and then when you receive it, then you put it out from the end within you, that fear. Vampires love blood. Vampires love fear. The system loves fear. So, but let's look on some positive aspects. I'm not going to get on to what could happen, because that's a whole different video. How this aligns with dates, times, years, and former the eclipses. I will do a video. I will share about a thing I'm going to do here in the future that will tie some things into you with that. But we're going to go on the word of the day, and this word of the day is going to be this word right here. It's going to be the word eclipse. So what I want you to do is look at this word eclipse. And we are going to break it down into, notice it says, comes from the French, Old French, eclipse, darkness, from Latin, eclipsis, from Greek, eclipsis, and eclipse. And abandonment, literally a falling or forsaking. Notice this. A falling or forsaking. A forsake a usual place, a fail to appear, be eclipsed from, eked out, leave. Think about this. There's some good stuff here. If you revelate, you can see it. It kind of hits me. And I talked about it earlier. Think about this. When you get into the comfort zone, which I will call the usual place, there's no growth in that place. So this eclipse, actually, when I see it, it means an abandonment, right? We know that the moon is covering the sun, right? An abandonment, literally a failing, a forsaking, forsake from the usual, a fail to appear, be eclipsed, right? To leave. I'm looking at this as a whole different place, as an abandonment. This is an old version of yourself that you're eclipsing and changing. This is an old version of yourself that many always want to be, that old version of yourself. The only one that identifies an old version of yourself. They don't identify who you know that you are now, and many who identify who you are that you know now, that you may have friendships and relationships. But many of these don't see it. So it's eclipse, it's a darkness, it goes into the eclipse, an abandonment, abandoning former thinking, abandonment former self, because you're being literally a falling from it, forsaking it, to forsake a usual place, somewhere that you always were dwelling in, a former version of yourself, a fail to appear. You're being eclipsed from it. See that? You're being eclipsed from it. You're changing from it. You're leaving that premises. Think about this. Literally a failing and forsaking, a change, another version of yourself. An old version of you is falling away. It's being deep untangled out of the tanglement you are in. It's an old version of your old self that's falling away. You know, we always hear these things about, and the old, behold, all things come new, and that which is old falls away. Behold, all things are new, and everything changes. The continuous transformations that we see within ourselves is connected to the eclipse. It's something that you're forsaking, something that you were, to be something that you are. You're letting your transformational part, as you're eclipsing your old self. But it took some darkness to shine with the light. Yin and yang. Make sense? Think about it. Forsaking, falling away, to forsake an usual place, some place that you usually hung out that you say, I don't do no more. That's not me. That's an old version of myself that used to be, but it's not there. I don't appear there no more. I fell away. I eclipsed it. Let's go down and look at eclipse here and see it said eclipse, figurative from also the Middle English, suffer, eclipse, and absolute eclipsed. Not much there on that one, the eclipse, as it goes into what we hear see in history. So I just wanted to kind of stick to this place as one crosses into the sun and absorbs the sun, and the corona around the sun creates even the change within you, because you're eclipsing old versions of yourself, and then behold, all things start to come new or change, or another version of yourself that maybe, because I know that I have family, friends, and people in my life for decades that really don't know me. They know me by an old version, family members, friends, but they really don't know me because I eclipsed and they haven't eclipsed. Make sense? You have a new version of you that was birthed, but they don't know that old version because they're still in the old version. Family, friends, people, they don't know that side of you. They're looking at the side of you that could have been at one time the party animal, the person who participated in certain things. That aspect of an old version of yourself, to a version maybe that was religious and had some spirituality, to the new version that you woke up into a whole new understanding, and then you became open to all things. And then what happened when you became open? They don't know that version because they're not open. Think about it. They're not open. One more time. Let's read this. Watch this. I love this. To eclipses, an abandonment, literally a falling, forsaking. To forsaken a usual place. The old you, the old version of you, is being that eclipse within you. Because remember, which is out, which is above is below, which is in is which is out. Is there now taking its room and changing you. You've forsaken the usual place to find a very unusual place. It's not the usual place no more. You're taking this old thinking, and you're taking this old mindset, and you're changing it, and now it's creating a new version of you as you untangle all your dogmas and your ego, and that which used to be you is no longer you. Think about it. Even if we wanted to go natural, you go, there was a 5-year-old you, a 10-year-old you, a teenage you, and a young adult you in the 20s, a 30-year-old adult in you, and then the 40. These versions of even them in the natural are not the same version they were when they were 10. And even now, keep it into knowing thyself, which is the highest version of self and the greatest knowledge, the eternal knowledge that you want to tap into. I was watching this clip the other day because sometimes I'll watch old clips of young people listening to older music, especially classic rock, and even younger people that are in their 30s and 20s that listen to hip hop in different races, right, in different countries. And they're just admiring how this opened them up to reviewing stuff they did not know, right? So you think about it, there's versions of people as they start expanding, and I'm just using that for example, right? You start expanding your understanding, and this is every aspect in the natural, but how much more are we uh, caught in opinions, mindsets, cultures, thinking, religious thinking, dogma thinking, um, 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 what do you call it? Cultural thinking, dogma thinking, program thinking, right? And we don't really realize um, what's going on. Like yesterday, I had some grandchildren here this weekend, and we were watching this movie called Kung Fu Panda 4. And there was all kinds of occultic stuff in it. I mean, all kinds. From the staff was actually a yin and yang symbol to waking yourself up and being another version of yourself. There's all kinds of occult knowledge hidden in that. But this is used by Hollywood to give messages. But the thing is, the people that don't understand occult meanings and know how to decode, they're just taking it as entertainment. But those who know that read it and see the symbols and signs, because the symbols and signs will tell you, can be a book within itself. So, anyways, so we're eclipsing our old thinking. We keep eclipsing it. We're literally falling and forsaking old thinking, falling and forsaking old dogmas, falling and forsaking old beliefs, falling and forsaking opinions. And I see opinions and beliefs as the entanglements that they're needed when they're not needed. But as we come more and more of untangling, like the onion peeling back, we're starting to come to source even within us, and we come more and more seeing ourselves more and more as we are. So the word of the day was eclipse. And you guys know that many of you that listen here are looking to eclipse yourself. You're looking to totally eclipse who you are to, because you're changing. You're always being transformed. You're always seeing the metamorphosis change. You even seen the signs of the beginning of a metamorphosis through the trials and tribulations and going through the process, knowing that when you go through it, which usually it's a tough trial and situation, almost feels like death and for some people in the experience, and then they metamorphose to that new change of life from from the ashes, dying and coming to life, resurrecting the ashes of the old self and coming a new person, a new change, a new visible change that's obvious, and that you have these experiences. So this is D-Boy, not going to go as long as I usually do, because we are living in this other aspect right now. But this was the word of the day, and it was eclipse. On the day of the eclipse, when this is printed, it already passed. I didn't have any technology shut down. Listen to this. No technology shut down. I haven't felt an earthquake yet or anything like that. Remember, they got us hyped up. The world, the news, everything, hype up, hype up, hype, 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 hype up. This is happening. This is happening. This is going to happen. This is going to happen. And then when it comes and nothing happens, everybody goes, oh. But that's a release of energy in the field of almost not being fulfilled. And then they'll use it later to bring an event. They get you thinking you're wrong and not trust. The thing is, be aware of tactics. Yeah, be aware of tactics. Because I noticed even recently when you start looking at stuff, and I was telling a few people this, I said, notice that things are being said on regular, like news and stuff like that in different platforms, that only the ones they call the tinfoil hats would say these things, not long ago. But now it's like open. This stuff is in the open. Some of it is psyop. Some of it's true. Some of it's psyop. But when you start honing in and you're learning more truth, you start seeing things clearly and start measuring how things are done, especially in situations like this. But you guys have a great day.